Hello students, welcome to the final chapter of the agreement section on the SAT. In this chapter, we are going to deal with three parts of the agreement. One, the pronoun antecedent clarity, the pronoun antecedent agreement, and the pronoun case agreement. As I have already told you when we covered our chapter on pronouns, that antecedent is basically the noun that is replaced by the pronoun. The noun that is replaced by the pronoun is called the antecedent. Sometimes when you replace a noun with another pronoun, there is no clarity if which noun is being replaced if there are multiple nouns. So suppose there is a sentence and there are multiple nouns in the sentence, and then we have a pronoun to replace either of the nouns. Sometimes there is no clarity as to which noun is being replaced by this pronoun or which noun is this pronoun intended for. So that causes pronoun antecedent clarity or unclarity. So let's take some examples and understand. Obviously, pronouns are words that stand for specific nouns, and antecedents are particular nouns that a pronoun refers to. Pronoun antecedent clarity is nothing more than the requirement to have a clear pronoun on the SAT. For example, between the cats and dogs, James likes them better. Now the pronoun out here is them, and we are talking about between cats and dogs. So obviously this is unclear, and them is not a good pronoun to be used out here. Obviously, the SAT examples will not be that simple, so let's take a SAT example. Cyclone Althea devastated portions of northern Australia in December 1971. The strong winds ripped roofs off houses, hail damaged vehicles and windows, and it cost the Australian federal government close to $1 billion in modern day adjusted values. Okay, now out here the underlined portion says and it cost. Now out here the pronoun is it. So let's read the statement again. Cyclone Althea devastated portions of North Australia in 1971. The strong winds ripped roof off houses, hail damaged vehicles and windows. So there are number one, Cyclone Althea that caused the damage. There is 2, winds that caused the damage, and there is number 3, hail that caused the damage. Now we are using it. Now it is unclear whether it refers to the hail, it refers to the wind, or it refers to the cyclone Althea directly. And it cost. So what cost? Whether the hail cost, or the winds cost, or the cyclone itself cost. So out here this is ambiguous, and because this is ambiguous, there is no clarity between the pronoun and the antecedent. So let's look at some options. So obviously we have to make what this is it all about clear. So either we have to write and the hail did the damage, or we have to write the winds did the damage, or the cyclone did the damage. Right? We have to write it here. We cannot be using this pronoun. So obviously in this one we are clear that we are referring to the cyclone that did the damage. So let's look at it. And it cost, so this is incorrect, and they cost, incorrect. Again, there are multiple, so they also doesn't make any sense, and those cost, again, doesn't make any sense, and the storm, another name for obviously the cyclone, cost. So in this one the correct answer should be a D. This is what pronoun antecedent clarity is all about. Let's take another example. You can pause the video and try to find out what the correct answer to this one would be. Historical wolf hunts would include noblemen, conscripted Historical wolf hunts would include noblemen, conscripted farmers, peasants, and trained wolfhounds, though they were often injured as the wolves attempted to defend themselves with teeth and claws. So we are talking about they were injured. Now we see that they would include what? Noblemen, they would include peasants and farmers, right? And they would also involve, the hunts would involve trained werewolves, wolfhounds, trained wolfhounds. So there are three things again: one, two, and three, and they refers to either of the three. So we are not clear. So definitely this is ambiguous. This is definitely ambiguous. So we need to find out which or what this they refers to. In this one, obviously, more often than not, I mean, we would be able to understand that definitely they were carrying trained wolfhounds. They were carrying trained wolfhounds to do the job. So obviously, we don't think that these people were probably to carry food and other equipments. And obviously, if the noblemen were injured, there is no point. So obviously this one refers to the they refers to the trained wolfhounds, and the correct answer for this one should be a C. So the next type of agreement that we are looking at is the pronoun antecedent agreement. So we understand that the pronoun is basically replacing the antecedent. So when we look at the pronoun replacing the antecedent, we have to understand that it has to agree with the antecedent in its gender if there be, right? And obviously there will be a gender naturally, and it has also got to agree in terms of number. The case part we are going to see later. So gender and number, it has to agree, pronoun. Okay, so obvious, if we are looking at, say, James, we cannot replace that by a she. And if we are looking at James and, say, James Anderson and what, Dominic Cork, right? We cannot replace that by a he. We have to replace that by a plural, and this one we have to replace by the gender he. SAT examples cannot be that simple. We are going to do some SAT examples just to elaborate as to how these mistakes happen. Step 1, be suspicious of all pronouns. So whenever you have a pronoun, go back and see what the antecedents are. So identify what the antecedents are and check whether they are singular or plural agreements. Obviously, gender, I don't think SAT is going to be that simple, that unwise to look at gender. So generally, it is about the number. It is not about the gender. Generally, it is about the number. So easier ones are one, which is singular, those, plural, all. But then no one, neither, either, anyone, everyone, someone, every, each. These are difficult to identify whether they will be singular or plural. Sometimes they assume singular or plural value, as we have already seen when we have done our sections on pronouns. So just to recapitulate, each, everybody, anybody, everyone, all those things, they are all singular verbs. You can pause. These are all singular verbs. This is obviously one of the tips that we have included in our course. Both, few, many, they are all plural verbs, and there are some verbs like these ones, they can assume either plural or singular values depending on their use. So we have to understand that paired verbs, paired pronouns like neither, nor, either, or, they would always get the value of the last noun, right? If the last noun, the second noun rather, is singular, then they assume singular values. If this is plural, they assume plural values. So let's see some examples. Let's actually do some examples. Despite the group's many musical successes, they are struggling to afford new instruments. Obviously, they refers back to the group, not the musical successes that they have enjoyed, and hence that the group has enjoyed. I have also said they. So it definitely doesn't imply, or it doesn't go back to the musical successes. It goes back to the group, and hence out here the group is a singular noun that they is trying to replace, and hence this is incorrect. So it has got to be a singular pronoun that we have to use. So in this one, it is struggling, or C is the correct answer. Let's look at this one. This is a paired one, that is neither and nor. So neither the duck nor the geese. Now out here, as you can see, this is a plural of goose, and hence this is incorrect because the second one in the pair is a plural. Hence the verb or the auxiliary verb that you use has to be a plural. So the answer has to be are. And the last portion that we come to is the pronoun case agreement. As we now know that obviously along with the number, along with the gender comes the case. Now in the pronoun case, sometimes it becomes a bit confusing. Let's take an example. Charles and me love to play dodgeball, and we have spent many an hour engaged in this exciting pastime. Now out here the question is me. Okay, the question is me, Charles and me. Now out here the verb is that we are playing dodgeball. Now both of these pronouns come before the verb, and hence they are subjects to the verb, and the case has to be subjective. And it is common sense that the subjective case of the first person is I and not me. The subjective case is not me. This is the objective case. We have done that when we have done the pronoun cases. You can refer back to the pronoun, and hence out here the answer has to be an I. So Charles and me is incorrect. Charles and I is correct. Charles and me is incorrect. Charles and I loves. Now obviously these are and, so this is a plural, and hence it cannot be an S added to the verb because this is plural, this is not singular. Again we are using the tip in the verb in the simple present tense. So we can go back and see that, and this is how it goes. So the answer to this one should be a B. Stay tuned. The next whole section will be on various kinds of punctuation. SAT looks at 5 punctuation: the commas, the semicolons, the dashes, the apostrophe, the colons, and did I miss anything? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's it. So we are taking up this next section, which will be on the punctuations. So stay tuned.